if you've got a V8 Commodore and you want it to sound like a V8, this episode's for you. Guts. G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Fred from Clooney Garage here. We get a lot of comments about the sound of our exhausts on our VF and our VE Commodores, particularly when we go to the track and we go howling down the main straight and it crackles and pops and carries on. That's all good. Well, in this episode, we've got 5 different mods. Take you through each one of them. Each one will make your V8 Commodore sound different. All of them in their collective make your car sound like a V8 race car. And that's what you want. You don't buy these cars for them to howl around and, sound like a vacuum cleaner. So stick with us, it's going to be an awesome episode. Let's kick it off with number 1. Our first exhaust modification are the extractors, or headers as they're more commonly known. And once the process of combustion has happened, all the goodness and all the gases have to escape out through the exit exhaust ports. And, if you've got actually a standard Commodore, you've got these cast iron, very restrictive. They sound like dirt, actually. So you've got a few options here. We've gone with, on our VE, we've gone with X-Force. And there's like a stainless steel sort of header. And we'll talk about the exhaust systems as well that go with those as well. But this modification that we did, ours are 1 3/4. And for a 6 litre, that's a really good size, actually. You don't need to go too big. But there are some other manufacturers that we recommend for an even better sound than these X-Force ones. And they are DeFilippo, or they're now made by Manta. And again, come in 1 3/4, 1 7/8 size. And just we found the design of those, particularly the ceramic coated DeFilippo or Manta headers, just get a superior sound that we've actually found, and better performance as well. But again, you can't go wrong with any sort of header. That's obviously a step up from the old stock cast iron jobbies. And that's going to set you up really well for modification number 2. Exhaust modification number 2 is to follow the pipes down through the body of the car and get yourself a full system. Don't bother too much about these cat backs that, and you miss out on the headers. We recommend going headers. We'll talk about our cats in a second. Full system all the way through. And again, the major manufacturers, in this case, X-Force, Hurricane, DeFilippo or Manta that we've seen. And you get some rebranded headers and exhaust systems as well through companies like Walkinshaw and Harrop. But from our reading and understanding, they're actually rebranded headers of the other manufacturers I've just named as well. So there are other companies out there. You've got Ramjet, the headers, and you've got some other brands. And I know that, there's pacemakers and all that. We don't have personal experience with those. The ones we have seen don't really sound as good as the DeFilippo systems. So let's talk about the DeFilippo ones. They're the ones that you've probably heard on Clooney. We'll take you to a clip in a... That gives you a sound of what Clooney sounds like, and that's that mild steel twin 3-inch straight through system. We'll talk about the next modification in a second. But we've also found just the design and the material they use in the mufflers, and we'll show you some clips as we're speaking here of Clooney's system. We've just found that combination with the headers as well is a very unique rhythmic pulse sound, really nice reverberation, nice harmonics, and we actually think it's the killer combination. So the DeFilippo headers, ceramic coated, and the full system. And if you can, there's the 2.5-inch variant and the 3-inch variant in twin, obviously. And we recommend going with, depending on your engine size and capacity, go with the twin 3-inch if you can. And we'll talk about the next mod right now. Right, once you've got your big full system in, you can actually do some more modifications. So modification number 3, many of these big full systems have got a large restrictive center pipe. And that's important for sound, and that's important for drone. You don't want mum driving down the street and kids getting a headache. But we found that, particularly with the DeFilippo system, the big twin resonators, we've actually gone and delete on those. We'll show you the modification as I'm talking now. And we've just replaced that with twin 3-inch big boy DeFilippo pipe. The other modification you can do if you've got a system like a Hurricane or an X-Force style system is they come with a big chambered center muffler, and you can do a delete on them too. We don't recommend doing a delete on the rear mufflers. That makes the entire car sound like arse, and obviously you get some unwanted attention from those that be. And obviously you go to the racetrack and you're going to be over the dB limit, and it's not going to sound good at all. And this performance vid and sound vid is all about getting the best sound out of your V8. So at least have some sort of muffler on and sound deadening. You don't want straight through. You don't want that. Of course, when you're looking at your mufflers and your full system that we've just been talking about, if you have a look at our VP race car, we actually won't be exiting the exhaust and the muffler out the back out here. We'll be doing a NASCAR boom tube style exhaust, and that will sound absolutely beautiful. We'll be exiting it at about there, and I'll just putting a few photos up there of what boom tubes look like, and they sound very exotic, but again, probably not for your road registered grocery getter. That's more of a track day special only modification, that one. All right, the next modification you should look at, once you've got your extractors on, you've got your full pipes in, you've done your center muffler or resonator delete, is to look at getting a tune. And particularly when we're talking about the tune, if you want that crackle and pop like our NASCAR here, you've got to look at the fuel delivery and your fuel tables and all that sort of stuff. And young Jim Bob from Gentech, he's a bit of a specialist in that regard. Check this out. You'll also hear some of the later model cars, particularly the Hyundai i20s and i30Ns. They've got a bit of a crackle to them, particularly as, they've got the ignition cut out as they rev through the gears. And again, that's because you're pouring fuel through the system. It's an igniting and giving those pops and so on. So we reckon that sounds pretty cool. But obviously you don't want to overdo it. Like our poor old ute overdoes it a little bit. And Frankie's been black flagged for that because he crackled on pop too much. So that's no good. So you just want a little bit of crackle, probably not the sound that you heard at the end of the dyno run there, but that's all good. Some is better than none. All right, our final modification to make your V8 Commodore really sound like a V8 are some complementary mods that you should do along with the exhaust and the headers and all the other mods we've just talked about. And they are things like adding a big lumpy cam, getting some head work done, getting the compression up, from shaving your heads or getting, porter and polished heads. And these other effects will help things sound like, when it's idling, obviously through your exhaust, you get a much better sound. Up in the rev range, particularly you've got your head work and compression, you'll hear a different tone as the car's revving. And obviously all these are going to improve the performance of your car, but more importantly, it's the aggregate of all these mods and how it's going to sound. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. A few mods there, a few clips from Clooney. Got an update on Clooney coming up, where we're up to with a new engine build. Stay with us later this week. I'll share with you what's happening. Catch you later.